They boarded the bus laughing, instruments in hand, eager for a weekend competition. None of them ever made it home. March 14, 2018, Riverside High School in Cedar Falls, Iowa. 17 students and 2 teachers loaded up for what should have been a routine trip to a regional band competition in Des Moines. The bus was packed with clarinets, trumpets, sheet music, and the kind of nervous energy that comes before a big performance. Kids texting their parents, selfies in matching band jackets, normal teenage stuff. By 6 p.m. that evening, when they failed to arrive at the competition venue, normal became nightmare. The bus was found 3 hours later on a remote logging road near Backbone State Park, almost 40 miles off course. Engines still running, headlights cutting through the darkness, doors wide open. Empty. All 19 people gone. Let me take you back to that morning, because understanding who these people were makes what happened so much harder to grasp. Emma Harris was the drum major, 17 years old, college-bound, with a scholarship already locked in for music education. Her mom, Patricia, told police Emma had been excited all week, practicing her conducting until her arms ached. Emma was the kind of kid who wrote thank-you notes to her teachers, who stayed late to help younger students learn their scales. Then there was Tyler Chen, first chair clarinet. Quiet, but brilliant. His little sister Madison was on that bus too. She played flute, always trying to keep up with her older brother. They'd been inseparable since childhood. The chaperones were beloved. Mr. Jacob Reynolds had taught music at Riverside for 12 years. Everyone called him Mr. R. He knew every student's strengths, their struggles, their dreams. And Mrs. Olivia Parker, the assistant band director, 34 years old with twin daughters at home, barely 3 years old. She'd almost skipped this trip to stay with them. 17 students, 2 teachers, 19 lives. All of them vanished. The initial investigation moved fast, but found nothing that made sense. The bus driver, a substitute named Leonard Shaw, 59 years old, was among the missing. He'd taken the route before, knew the roads. There was no reason for him to detour through Backbone State Park. No reason to end up on that isolated logging road. Search teams combed hundreds of acres. Helicopters with thermal imaging swept the forests. Dive teams checked every body of water within a 20-mile radius. The FBI brought in cadaver dogs. Nothing. No bodies, no clothing, no instruments, even though all the kids had them. It was like 19 people had been plucked from existence. The bus itself was clean. Too clean, some investigators thought. No signs of struggle, no blood, no fingerprints except those belonging to the missing. The only strange detail: the GPS unit had been manually disabled about 15 minutes before the bus stopped. Someone didn't want anyone knowing where they were going. Theories exploded across the media. Had they been abducted? But how do you kidnap 19 people without a single scream, a single witness, a single shred of evidence? Had they run away together? Some kind of bizarre collective decision? But these were good kids, honor roll students, athletes. They had futures waiting for them. Had the bus driver snapped, taken them somewhere? But Leonard Shaw had no criminal record, no psychiatric history. His wife described him as boring, predictable, safe. The families refused to believe their children were gone. Patricia Harris slept in Emma's room every night, surrounded by her daughter's trophies and concert programs. The Chens set an extra place at dinner for Tyler and Madison. Mrs. Parker's husband quit his job to search full-time, printing thousands of flyers, driving to every small town within 200 miles. But months passed, then a year, then 2. The case went cold. The bus was moved to an evidence lot. The search teams disbanded. The news cameras left. But the families never stopped looking. 5 years later, March 2023, a hiker named Sarah Brennan was exploring an area near Backbone State Park she'd never been to before. Deep woods, barely a trail, the kind of place you only find if you're lost or really looking. She almost walked right past it. A cabin, small, gray, swallowed by overgrowth, no roads leading to it, no signs it had been used in decades. But something made her stop. Maybe curiosity, maybe fate. The door hung open. Inside, the air was thick with decay and rot, broken furniture, shattered glass. But then Sarah saw something that made her blood freeze. Band uniforms. The maroon and gold of Riverside High School, dusty and moth-eaten, hanging from hooks on the wall like trophies. She ran, called 911. Within hours, police swarmed the location. What they found inside that cabin would crack the case wide open, but the answers, they only deepened the mystery. The cabin belonged to no one, at least no one on record. Property records showed the land a state-owned, undeveloped wilderness. Yet someone had built this place, lived in it, used it, and they'd been ready for company. Inside, investigators found more uniforms, instrument cases, empty but bearing the names of the missing students written in Sharpie: Tyler Chen, Madison Chen, Emma Harris. Sheet music scattered across a rotting table, the pages warped but readable. But here's where it gets strange. There was food, or what was left of it, canned goods, their labels faded and peeling, bottled water, sleeping bags arranged in a circle in one room, like the kids had been camping, like they'd been living there. But no bones, no remains, no evidence anyone had died in that cabin. Instead, they found journals, 6 spiral notebooks, water-damaged but legible, hidden below a loose floorboard. They were written by Emma Harris. The first entry was dated March 14, 2018. "We didn't mean to stop. Mr. Shaw said he saw something in the road. He pulled over." Then everything went wrong. The handwriting was shaky, frantic. Emma described how the bus door opened and a man appeared, someone Mr. Shaw seemed to know. They talked, and then Mr. Shaw turned to the students and said something that made no sense. "This is the only way. Trust me." The students were confused, scared, but Mr. Reynolds and Mrs. Parker seemed to understand something the kids didn't. They told everyone to stay calm, to follow. They walked into the woods. The journals go on for days. Emma wrote about how they were led to the cabin, how Mr. Shaw and the teachers kept saying they were protecting them, that something terrible was going to happen if they went to Des Moines, that they needed to hide. But hide from what? Emma didn't know. None of the students did. They asked questions, demanded answers, but the adults wouldn't explain, just kept saying, "You'll understand soon. You're safe here." Days turned into a week. The cabin had supplies, like someone had prepared for them. The students were scared, but unhurt. They played cards, practiced their instruments quietly, tried to make sense of the insanity. But the adults grew paranoid, Mr. Shaw especially. He kept talking about them, about how they were looking, how they couldn't find the kids. Emma wrote, "I don't know who Mr. Shaw is afraid of, but I'm starting to be afraid of him." The final entry is dated March 23, 2018, 9 days after they vanished. "Something's wrong with Mr. Shaw. He's talking to himself. Mrs. Parker is crying. Mr. Reynolds won't look at us anymore. Tyler tried to leave yesterday, and Mr. Shaw locked him in the shed. We're not safe here. We were never safe here. I'm going to find help. If anyone finds this..." The sentence ends mid-thought. After that, nothing. No more entries, no explanation for what happened next. No clue where 19 people went after leaving that cabin. The investigation reignited. Police scoured the area again with new focus. They found the shed Emma mentioned, a small structure behind the cabin, its door reinforced with a chain that had rusted through. Inside, they found scratches on the walls, dozens of them. Tally marks, maybe, or something else. And one word carved deep into the wooden door: run. They found tire tracks leading away from the cabin, faint but still visible under layers of forest debris. Someone had driven a vehicle there. Recently? 5 years ago? Forensics couldn't say for sure. But they never found the people. Tyler and Madison Chen, Emma Harris, Mrs. Olivia Parker, Mr. Jacob Reynolds, Leonard Shaw. All 14 other students gone. Here's what keeps investigators up at night. If the students were being held against their will, why didn't they fight harder to escape? Emma's journals suggest fear, yes, but also confusion. Like the adults convinced them they were in danger from someone else, some outside threat. But there's no evidence of any outside threat. No one was after these kids. No conspiracy, no danger waiting in Des Moines. So what did Leonard Shaw think he was protecting them from? And more disturbing, did the teachers know? Were Mr. Reynolds and Mrs. Parker in on whatever Shaw believed? Or were they victims too, manipulated into thinking they were saving their students? Then there's the biggest question of all. If they left that cabin on March 23, 2018, where did they go? Some believe they're still alive, that Shaw led them somewhere deeper, more remote, that they're living off the grid, hidden in some forgotten corner of the country, still running from a threat that never existed. Others think the worst, that something happened after Emma stopped writing, that Shaw's paranoia turned violent, that those 19 people never left those woods. But then why no bodies? Why no trace? The FBI still considers it an open investigation. The families still search. Patricia Harris visits the cabin sometimes, leaves flowers where her daughter's journal was found. She says she can feel Emma there, that her daughter is trying to tell her something. The Chen family hired private investigators who followed leads from Iowa to Montana to Oregon. Every few months, someone reports seeing a group matching their description. But it always turns out to be nothing. Riverside High School built a memorial. 19 empty chairs arranged in a circle. A plaque that reads, "Their music will never fade." But the silence is deafening. What really happened in those woods 5 years ago? Was Leonard Shaw a madman who believed he was saving those kids from an imaginary threat? Were the teachers complicit, or were they trying to protect their students from Shaw himself? And the most haunting question of all, are Emma Harris and the others still out there somewhere, waiting to be found? Or did something far darker unfold in that cabin, something Emma never got the chance to write down? If you've made it this far, I want to hear from you. What do you think happened to the Riverside High School band? Do you believe they're still alive? Could 19 people really vanish without a trace and stay hidden for 5 years? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if this story affected you the way it affected me, hit that like button and subscribe, because there are so many more mysteries out there waiting to be told. Stories of real people, real families, still searching for answers. Stay curious, stay questioning, and never stop looking for the truth. Because somewhere, someone knows what happened in those woods.